Okay. So let's move on to, was there anything else I wanted to? I think there was, you go to this has the different topics that we're going through. Creating and displaying UI. I'm not too sure what this one covers. Yeah, the default gunshot sound. Make sure if you're ever playing it, you want to turn your, what I did earlier, dude. Turn Unreal down to low volume, because that gunshot noise will scare you. You've not been listening to any audio. Okay, create and displaying a UI. I think there's that. But there's a few things that I'm interested in that we can have a look at. But I think we'll carry on with this. I want to see what's in it first, though. Is this in-world UI? Okay, yeah, I am interested in that. I don't think I've done that. Well, I've done it with a text renderer before. I'm not too sure if that's what's going to happen here. Just interested in seeing. Okay, it looks a bit crap, but we can see how it is. Want to demonstrate? Yeah. So Brainoid, I told people about it at the start of stream that you've done a thing. I said that we'd probably look at it in detail in a later stream. I mean, you're welcome to talk through it today at some point if you want, but I just, because we're really touching on the basics at the moment, I don't know whether it would fit in directly, but I don't really mind, dude. Okay, so in most cases, you want to communicate some information to your players through your game's user interface. This can range from things like main menus, pause menus, HUD elements like health or experience, inventory items. With Unreal Motion graphics, you can create blueprint widgets to handle the display of UI elements in your project. We know about this, hang on. Oh, it's just introducing it as if we haven't done anything else so far. We will create a widget blueprint and add some text to it. We'll display it when a key is pressed. Alright, hang on. What is going on here? Are they actually adding text to the screen? This isn't world space, is it? I don't think we're going to do this one, actually, because this looks rubbish. They're adding the thing that they've done to the... We've done this before. When I press enter, then show my thing. How do they do the removing? Oh, when you release it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah, we're not doing this tutorial. This is rubbish. It sounded like you mind. No, I'm just trying to justify why when you weren't here on stream, I said we'd probably look at it in later weeks. That's all my defensive nature was. Okay, so I think we're fine with these ones at the moment. Create 3D widget interaction. Widget templates, drag and drop UI. Okay, these things. Don't know about the scaling for different devices, but we can have a look at them. Boy, did Dan tell you about the AAA game he's working on? What's the name again? Oh, yeah, so Uno's been asking me what game I work on all day, and I told him no. And then he keeps guessing. He's silly. Okay, traditional UI consists of 2D space on top of a 2D or 3D world, such as menus, health bars. However, there may be times when you want players to interact with a piece of UI in your environment, like a keypad or a virtual menu, or an inventory. This is especially prevalent in VR projects. With the widget interaction component, you can create any type of interactive widget, such as sliders, combo boxes, checkboxes, and more, that interact with them in the 3D environment. This is how we will create an interactive widget. Sorry for the volume. Okay, so when we click on it, it increases the count. So it just allows you to click. Let's go through. I'm interested. Is if it has the same amount of pins, Yardimel. When you're doing the data transfer cables, then the data transfers just need to have the same amount of pins. And if you're doing the power cables, then again, it's the chunkier pins, but you need to make sure that you're giving it enough power. Actually, I don't think DVD would have the same data transfer as SATA and for a hard drive, isn't it? So I don't know. Add widget interaction. What's this? A widget interaction component. Okay, this is, I'm learning something new here. So we're going to add one of these. Let's go ahead and do it, shall we? Let me move this onto the other screen and we'll see. I'll follow through it. Oh, it's Turkish, is it? Alright, so it says in the first person character, we're going to go to the gun. And it says, well, it says there should be a sphere here, but there totally isn't a sphere. Maybe they've changed it since. So, okay, we want to add a widget interaction here. So add a component, click add widget interaction. No, not widget. The arrow key doesn't work very well in those situations. Let me show you that again. So I type in widget, I press down arrow, and it doesn't actually go through. The first one isn't selected by default. Unreal interface. Means helping hand. Ah, the name does fit. Indeed, it does. Okay, so we got our widget interaction component. In the details panel for it, zero out the location and check show debug. This show debug, the location is zeroed out. Okay. Inside the event graph, add a right mouse button, mouse event. Then drag in the widget interaction component. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Component, we want to go to the event graph. And we want to go right mouse button. Here we go. So when we click with this, we want to get our widget interaction component that we just added. Let's get that. And then there's a thing called press pointer key. Interesting. So this is relating to this widget interaction. So this is basically something that allows a non-UI thing, something that isn't the mouse cursor on a UI or a focused button or something to receive input, I guess, right? That's what this widget or to interact with the widget. Yeah, if there's 8 cables, it sounds like it's taking a different type of power supply. Oh, not power supply, but a different voltage, or is it, or ampage? I don't know the right word. Okay, so when this is pressed, we want to say which button, so the left mouse button is pressed. So by default, the UMG registers click events as the result of a left mouse press. Using the right button mode allows us to simulate the interaction when a right mouse button is pressed. Okay, okay, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, now I see what I mean, because this is the right one. So when we press the right mouse button, it's going to do the equivalent of a left mouse click on the UI. I think that's what's happening. So that's if we right click, yeah? Okay, well, we'll see how this works. Okay, and on the release, we want to go ahead and release pointer key. So we have an opposite. Let's do it from this. So we have the context, release pointer key. Go through, and this is going to be our left mouse again. Sweet. Okay. Compile, save, classic. Okay, and then we're going to create a widget blueprint called Interactive Widget. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So I've got something called my widgets already. We're going to make a new widget blueprint. Oops, wrong one. New user interface widget blueprint class interactive widget. Okay, save that. It's always been the default by the documentation has always been WBP, but I think we decided in our projects to do BPW before, and I'm fine to continue with that, dude. That's no issue. I've seen it before anyway, the BP, sorry. Okay, in the visual designer, we're going to remove the canvas panel. Oh, blast, look at this. Wild. We're going to add a button with a text widget on top of it. Okay, so let's add a button. And then we're going to add text into that. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to select the button and we're going to give it a tint like we've done before for when we hover over it. So hovered, tint, make it nice and obvious. Wiser. And then we going to make this text a lot larger because it's tiny at the moment. So where's the font settings for this? Let's make it 64. Go. Wonderful. Again, I'm going to change the color just because I think it looks that white on gray. Not clear. Okay. Although that's going to look hideous when it's yellow. Yellow and orange. Ooh. Never mind, it's fine. Yeah, Pally, what you said you were waiting on a delivery or something, right? Is that still scheduled for around 45 minutes or so? Yes, I play Fall Guys a lot. We're going to some of the community members are playing in around an hour. So if you want to play, I think there's one slot at least. If you want to play, feel free to jump on the community Discord. I do like me some Fall Guys. Playing it less than I did, but Uno. You got it already? If you excellent. Okay, good. Okay, so text variable value bar. Okay, so what they're doing here, we're going to be doing some binding, I think. So if we make a text variable in here. So in the event graph over here, we're going to make a new variable. This is going to be of type text, not string. Don't ask me right now what the difference between them is. Did I write it in that document? I might have, because it's one of those things. There's like fname text and fname. I did. I wrote out the difference in here. So fname is a way of storing strings in a lookup table. Essentially creates an index table. This means you're unable to have duplicates in that table. If you're using strings often, then you should create it as an fname. The creation process of fnames is a little bit slow. So you should repeat, create, and then repeatedly in a tick function, for example. To access the value or the string of an fname, we then call toString on that type. So a fstring is a straightforward string that we are used to from other languages. The string is stored as a character array within C++. It is common that we'll need to dereference the fstring when using logging functions. Yes. Okay, I remember that. And then ftext is a way of storing a string that will require localization. It's made up of a namespace, a key, and the actual text. The localization system will use the namespace and key to know how to replace the strings with translated versions. To access the fstring of an ftext, we call the toString function on it. So it's just like a struct, and that key is used so that key is going to be used in localization files, I'd imagine. So it'll go and replace all the values for it based on the language. Hey, no problem, Windy. It was great to see you. It was great. And give me a message, dude. I'll be honest, like I don't read through your Discord regularly if you're trying to arrange any Apexy things through that. But if you want to try and arrange an evening, like once every couple of weeks or something, where we hang out for a few hours, that'd be enjoyable for me, dude. So, but yeah, just DM me. It's more likely that I'll see than like writing it on your Discord. And I check your Discord more than I check other people's, so I'm not trying to insult you. I just find it hard to do more than just look at my own most of the time. So, Brainoid, you learned additional data yesterday. When serializing, you cannot multi-line edit f strings, but you can with f text using attribute meta multi-line true. Really? Isn't that fun? So is that when exposing it out to a variable when you're writing like script, like files, and you wanted to put it onto a new line? Not files, sorry, when you're writing a script or like lines for a character to say. Sure. Serialized, hang on. What do you mean by serialized in that context? I'm going to add your little nugget of knowledge in here. Extra nuggets of knowledge. Exposing it. Okay. Oh yeah, because you put serialize in brackets in Unity, don't you? All right, sweet. There you go. You've added to the Unreal Compendium. Again, if anyone, it's a work in progress for sure, but feel free to use it or look at it. I've tried putting some of all the different documents I had where I put stuff in. I've tried refining some of the notes. There's not loads in here, as you can see. A lot of it is empty page breaks, but it will, if you're new to stuff, it should hopefully help. Let's close this. Can we regenerate this? Is that what that does? Update table of contents? Ah, look at that. It goes on to 2 pages now. It's turning into a book. J-Dog, nice to see you, by the way. Let's carry on with what we were going through. We're looking at ways to interact with widgets without in the world. No problem, Brain. I'll probably be doing this for another 40 odd minutes or so. So if you do want to show your stuff today, then I recommend, well, work out how much time you think it'll take and be back by then. Where were we? Okay, we're in here. So we just made a text variable. And we're going to call this, what have they called it? Value. I don't like the name of that. Value or what? Don't worry about it. We're sticking with it. Let's compile it. You got to compile it first, and then we're going to set it to 0. So it's weird. We're using numbers here. We're displaying numbers, but I guess we're going to be taking a value, converting it into a string, like a numeric value. We'll have a look where this tutorial goes. Okay. Yeah, this is the variable that updates when you click the button. Okay, so in the Visual Designer, select the text element and bind the text value with the property you just created. Okay, so what this is saying is in here, when we click this text block here, we can bind it like this to that. So that means that it will show whatever the value is when, and if that value changes, it'll update too. It's not, I would like to reiterate what I did last stream. This method of binding is inefficient. It's fine if you're just playing around or making small projects or game jams, it's not a problem. But it's basically every tick it's updating it. It's checking, oh, say there's this, or has it changed? I don't even think it checks as it changed, it just sets it every frame. Whereas what you'd probably do if you wanted a more efficient system is you'd have an event when it changes that this listens for that event and then updates the text. That would be a cleaner way to do it, but it takes a little bit more time to set up. So yeah, just a bit of a heads up on that one. No, Steer the Coder, welcome, by the way. Okay, so now what we want to do on this button, we want to add the Unclicked Event and handle it. So we want to be in the event graph. Actually, no, you can do it in the, they've done it in here. Interesting. Also, I want this to take up this whole side panel. Sorry, right now I feel like this, I don't want this to take as much space, but I don't know how I can stop that. I think it's just going to do the same thing if I do put that there, isn't it? Yeah. There must be a way. Have it go across both of them, surely. Anyway, this is unimportant for now. Let me just carry on with what I was doing. Sorry. All right, so let's go down to the bottom of the button. Here we go. We have our Unclicked. Oh, and it just does what I was going to do anyway. So you can access that through going down here and clicking that as well. Never mind. Alrighty, so this is going to fire whenever the button is clicked on, which is going to be called from that first-person character thing that we've just set up here using this widget interaction component that we've added. Never used these before, so it's interesting. Okay, so whenever we click on it, now, whilst aiming the gun at least, we're going to go ahead and set our value essentially. I'm going to sneeze, so bear with me. Ooh. You know you're getting old when after a sneeze you're like, oh, did I just hurt my shoulder? Did I just hurt my shoulder? Come on, please don't hurt my shoulder. Oh, my back. Put my back out with a sneeze. All right, so this, again, this is really crappy code that we're going to see here, so don't copy this unless it's just for what we're doing now, which is playing around and learning the tools. So they're basically getting this value, which at the moment is a string, and then they're converting it to an integer. I am not too sure why I can't find this at the moment. Hold on. They're basically doing this clunky logic here. We've got the string here. Why do we only have that as an option? Okay, I'm like, we're coming from, how is the context not correct here? So we're coming off of a text node. Oh, is it because it's, is it because we're not a string? I'm not 100% why. Yeah, look at, this is ugly. This is really, sorry, I'm following a tutorial at the moment, Receive. So like, anyway, we're going to carry on with it. So essentially what they're doing is we need our button. We look at our button, it has a text block in it, so this is a string, and so we're binding the value of it to this variable that we've made here, which is of type text. Now, as we learned in my little document that I shared in the chat not too long ago, that the difference between these, so this is of type text, so text is a fancy version of a string which is set up for localization. So for us to get the string out of that, we need to convert it or get the text out of it. So I think we probably could have done get text as well, I think, and that would have worked, but they've done it this way. We're just going to go with it for now. I don't know, me neither. Or your hip out with a cough. I don't cough too often, thankfully, so my body's not suffering from that. Dentures doesn't work out when you're working in a zoo. Imagine poor old devil sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. Well, it's better than sneezing or coughing yourself into there and falling, huh? Oh no, behave. Hey, no problem, Lucky. No problem, Lucky. We'll see. We're probably wrapping up the game dev side of things in around half hour, just so you're aware. But we'll be playing Fall Guys with the community after that. Okay, so we, sorry, I've been moaning about the setup of this, and basically the reason is what we're doing is we have a text value, we're reading it, converting it to an integer, adding to it, converting it back to a string again over and over, whereas really what I think you should be doing is keeping track of this variable. What I would do personally is you would have an integer in here, which stores this value, current click count. And every time it clicks, you increase that and update it. That would be a nicer way to do it. But I mean, they're doing it. Just an easy way, accessible way. But I think if I'm going through this, I want to try and at least share when I see something as a kind of a bad way to do something, or an inefficient. It's not bad. I shouldn't use the word bad because it depends on your goal. You're trying to just get through a tutorial, or you're trying to learn a few things, or you're trying to learn about the widget interaction, then this bit does not matter. So I'm going to shut up about it, and we're going to carry on with what it says to do. So we're going to go ahead and add, now we get our context sensitive back. We want to add an integer to an integer. We're just going to increase it. If you didn't want to use that, you can do a plus node as well. If you weren't aware of that, there you go, fancy pants. But okay, and then we're going to go ahead and set the value afterwards. So we get our value, we hold Alt and drag it in. That gives us a set node. So Control gives you the getter, Alt will give you the setter. And essentially, this is what we want to do. We want to go ahead and put that into that. And it's quite nice with the blueprints that it does do the conversions for you when you try and get these different colors we put at different types. So we can convert things quite nicely that way, which is good. Okay, we don't need to change anything in there. That is fine. Okay, sweet. So we're going to compile and save that. We're done with that. It's a little simple bit of logic there. Indeed, Fall Guys, Fletch. So because I formatted computer yesterday, I downloaded the games that I plan to play this month. So Strange Brigade, which I've been playing through with some friends who I know Alpha Stream. We played that the other day for 3 hours, which was good fun. It's like simple fun, you know, nothing too. I wouldn't go and tell everyone to buy it, but Fall Guys, because that's my go-to little casual pickup at the moment, and then Darkest Dungeon, which is this month's stream game that we're going to be playing through. I've never played it before, but I've heard some great things about it, and I think I'll like it based on the style. So yeah, looking forward to that. Keel Block, I've not seen you for a long time. How you doing? I have. I don't really do Unity anymore. There's a little bit I do in Unity, so that was a half lie, and I did reinstall Unity when I reformatted yesterday. But that's one for the VIP bot that I do for Elisha. I don't like work on it regularly, but if I need to change it, I need to be able to change it. And secondly, my AHA, the game, I still want reference to that while I'm building the new one in Unreal. Now, how have you been, Killblock? Okay, next up, lots of chatting. Sorry, this is taking a bit longer than I planned. In the content browser, we're going to create a new blueprint based on an actor called example widget. We're going to add a widget component to the blueprint. I didn't know you could add a widget component to an actor in that way. Okay, so what it's telling us to do is we're going to go back here. We're going to add an actor. So just a simple blueprint which derives from the actor class, which is the base instanceable in the world kind of object that you have in Unreal. And we're going to call this example widget. I don't like the name of it. Let's just call it our widget actor. We're going to go into our widget actor. We're going to add a component in here, and it's going to be our widget component we want. Okay, so I've not added widgets to actors like this in the game, so let's have a little look. Uno Maestro. Don't listen to Uno Maestro, by the way. Uno is a silly man who makes me laugh, but he is not talking sense. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is there's a bit we can set the class for this, I believe. So if I need to find this in user interface, widget class, we can choose what we just made, which was the interactive widget. Splendid. And then you can see it. It's interesting. So you can change the draw size of it. That's interesting. When I say interesting, I overuse that word, but can you see it's wider here, right? But this is just because the way that we're displaying it in this preview, right? And that's why we use all these anchors. Well, we haven't really used them too much in this at all, actually, but this is why typically you'd use a canvas and anchors so that if you resize it, that it'll handle it. So we can make this be whatever size we want it to be. We'll keep it as a square for now, but just to show that I just want to make it a little bit larger, just to show that we can, right? Okay. Now where it says text block, don't worry about that. That should change to the 0 when we start, I believe. Okay, so we've gone ahead and done that. And then we're going to chuck that into our game. And we'll place it in a position where we want it. So let's go to our level. We're not on the title screen. We want to go to our first level. Save this. Okay, and this is the place where we go around and we want to shoot these. So let's get our widget actor. Well, it's not shooting, it's clicking. So it'd be like a little... it's facing the wrong way. Oh, look at that. Z fighting. Okay, at this point, I feel my button is too large. Anyone else agree? Alright, I don't care that it goes off the edge of the screen because we're only displaying a number in there. Welcome back, brain. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to have, this is our little computer screen that you run over and interact with. High tech. Yeah, I don't like the z-index fighting that's going on there. So we're going to just set our snap size to 1 and just move it forward 1. Gets rid of that for us at least. Whack this back on 10. Okay, sweet. I think we're pretty much done with this then. We place it where we want it, compile, and we can press play. Okay, so let's press play here. Oh, sorry, it's on the other screen. I always forget about that. So if I'm shooting here. Uh-oh. I don't think it's working. It's highlighting it. Is it only highlighting it too? Is it when I'm behind it? We're having some issues with this. I think it's something to do with the facing direction. Wait, it faces the right way there. Oh, I think I didn't need to turn it. I think it shows on both sides. So we should stick with which direction is the red arrow is pointing out of. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, I am not too sure why that is not working then. It's meant to highlight. You can see it highlights randomly. When I look at it from behind, it seems to be highlighting. Something's not quite working with that. Let's just try that. It's facing the opposite way. Let's just try it like that. No. Okay, so like logic works. But I'm really confused. Oh, hold on. I think I know what it is actually. Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you for. Sorry, my bad. So the logic works. You can see if I go here and I right click, it goes up. Shoot is left click, right click is that. So I think what is slightly different is their blueprint setup. Do you remember when I set up the first person character and I said they had a sphere here? And I think the problem here is that they didn't make the sphere though. Try and rotate this. I don't know if it casts out in a direction or what. I'm going to just whack this at the end of the gun. Let's compile and see if we get any different results with that. Aha. So now you can see my... Yeah, that's a lot better. I think it was facing sideways. Although my widget is gone now. So what we're seeing, sorry, I want to look at this because there was a bit of confusion about what's going on. So we added this widget interaction point. Initially, they told me just to put it there and zero it, but I think I forgot to zero the rotation, or that their character faces a different direction. I don't know, but I don't really care right now. But we tick this show debug, and that's what this is, right? So let's change the color. So make sure we're happy that is what that is, right? Compile that. And then we set up the logic in here that when we press the right mouse button, that it do these things. So right mouse button will simulate a pointer click, and you can set it up on the controller if you wanted to as well. You just use different like trigger. Oh, not trigger axis, but you can do a trigger button pull and things like that as well. So it doesn't have to be a click of the mouse. So, I mean, we could do space. Is there a space button press? We could probably do that as well, right? So if space is jump at the moment, so that's a bad choice actually. Is there return? Enter? Keyboard event. When I press enter, let's do that. So let's do the exact same logic. Okay. And drag this in here. Okay, we can save that. Hit play. Bring this across. So one, you can see the line is pink now. And two, you can see that there must be a distance on it within the settings. We can have a look at that. But yeah, that's a lot clearer what we're doing. And now if I right click, it goes up. And if I press enter, it also goes up. Okay, so that's having like in-world UI. Some weird stuff going on with like when it registers. You can see like if I come from the side. Oh, it's fine now? Yeah. Okay, it seems, I don't know, like that. Why is that not going? That goes. This doesn't. So yeah, who knows if it's the most reliable thing, but it's something I didn't know about at least. Good morning, Javasaurus. Good morning. Okay, so that's one extra thing that we've looked at. That's cool. It wasn't pivotal, but it may come in useful at some point. I imagine in a jam, it could be an easy, quick way to add an interaction point. It's as it's a UI element, it just has a depth on it, I think. Oh, is it Brainoid's time to show off what he's got? All right, let me have a look at what I'm going to be looking at next week then, and then while I get into a call with you, Brain. So scale UI for different devices. We're just going to have a little pan through and see. Okay, so this is showing the different. Oh, this is really not. This is tiny. This is cool. So this is useful to read through rather than we don't have to actually do it. So we'll have a little nose through that. We also have one on widget templates. I think this is the idea of making your own widgets and then using them. Hold on, let me just see if that's... Yeah, so they're making their own default button and giving it, yes, okay, button click functionality. Yes, this is how I've done a UI in the past before. This is good. So then what you can do is you can, once you've made your own custom button, you can add them, and you add, like you can with other widgets. And then you can go ahead and make your own, those bindings that you set up in the template, you can then bind to those. Yeah, it's a nice way to do it rather than setting up all the buttons the same. And it also means if you change the widget blueprint then, or the template, it'll update all the rest of them, which is really handy if you're changing your UI iteratively as you go forward. Okay, so there's that, and then there's create a drag and drop UI. So I guess we can have a look at this to see what it should look like. What? Why would you want to drag and drop a health bar? It's the most ridiculous example, but... Oh, and we're buffering, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I think we can see how this is going. They're just moving it to different places. Customizable UI. I mean, yeah, no, you've got a good point, actually. You might want to move your health bar. They do that in things like World of Warcraft, don't they? So I take that back. It isn't useless. But still, when I said drag and drop UI, I was thinking of an inventory, like dragging things into another grid. But still, we'll have a look. We'll have a look. I got a feeling it's not going to be too deep, though. But I haven't done drag stuff, actually, so it would be useful for that. But we're going to have a little temporary slot by the wonderful, the beautiful Brainoid Games, who's going to go ahead and show some cool stuff that he's been working on with a dialogue manager. If you remember last week, he showed a little bit of how he had an animated dialogue box popping onto screen. And now he's set up a system where you can set up a script, essentially for characters, and that it'll play through it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So, Brainoid, I'm going to give you a quick call on Discord now. I'm just getting in headphones. The volume might be a bit loud to people because things haven't been reset since I restarted my computer, but where is the wonderful brain? Here he is. Okay. Oh.
Heidi.
Oh my words, it's the wonderful Bora. Hello.
Hello. Let's share my screen. Quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take your time as well, dude. It's all good.
Okay. So
let me get you on center stage so everyone can see. Is Bora's volume okay? If someone can let me know in chat if you can hear him when he talks.
When I talk. When I talk.
When he talks. We're going up around the same amount on my level, so I think it's fine.
Okay. So I actually worked more on pop-up manager than the dialogue manager.
Ah, okay, sweet. Sorry, the introduction was incorrect. Go ahead.
No. Let's go check the dialogue manager first. So the pink light is a trigger for a dialogue.
Oh, that looks nice though, doesn't it?
When I click, it skips.
Ah, nice. Okay.
And if it's finished, when I click, it will skip to the next speech.
It is. I never thought it could be this easy. That's nice. How do you think it looks compared to stuff you'd make in Unity? Like the end result?
Bad.
What's the differences then? I'm just so Brainoid does a lot of games in Unity. He works as a guy who makes a lot of games for mobile devices typically, and they use Unity. So I'm interested in hearing like the differences that he comes across.
So I have this.
Okay, so this is this looks The chat name 1 is a drop down I see there. Okay, is that an enum?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sweet.
So I made an enum and also dialogue manager. And we also have a get chatter name here because like I thought maybe we'll assign the players, we'll let the player to enter their custom name so we can retrieve a custom name here instead of returning a predefined.
Yeah.
So I chose this way.
No, that sounds a good way to do it.
Useful, I guess.
Narrator. Yeah, that's good. Like your little separators, brain. I love you, mate.
Flip you. Okay, and let's continue.
But out of interest, sorry, dude. Well, like, what did you find about making the way that appears and everything? What's the negative versus the way that you can get things to work in Unity?
The worst thing is that there's this separate way of handling the UI. That's bullshit. I mean,
right.
It's easier in Unity to have them as a game object. Now all the UIs are also game objects. So
you can drive it from code as well. You mean better, or
it's easy to drive it from code. So I'm still driving it from code, but
yeah. One thing I was going to say is I know one of my more clever, experienced friends in work has done that on all his own projects. He's kind of overridden the blueprint, the base widget, so that they're all created in code, and then they reparent your widgets from that, which gives you a bit more functionality.
I'm doing that right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I have a jam base widget. I'm not using this for anything, but just inheriting from this one.
Yeah, so this gives us the scope, like with the game mode, in the sense that when you do need to add stuff to it, you've got it ready, right?
So dialog manager itself is inheriting from, sorry, where is it? Yeah, here. From Gem widget base.
Yeah.
And then I create a widget and then reparent it.
Okay, so you can still have all of that functionality in
a widget.
Okay, that's handy. Yeah.
Yes, I thought the best way is that way.
Yeah.
So here it goes. It's dialog manager here.
Yeah, I see.
And one important thing though, as you can see, I have bind widget stuff here.
Right.
Do you know how these work?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay, so it's called T speech body, right? And then let's go to graph. We don't have a T speech body here.
Right.
But we do have a T speech body here, and is variable and exposed.
So that's one from code you've made? Or...
No.
Oh, you just need to name them the same.
Yes. If you don't, it complains here that you have an error.
Okay.
It's not matching. Yeah, so it's.
Well, that's good that you get an error, at least. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, at least that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
The blue one. So go here.
Ah, look at that. An animated pop-up. Level complete. And then when you click, did it take you back to the level?
No, when I move away from the trigger box.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I like that the fade comes on though over time as well. Like animations with UI make such a difference to polish. It does.
So I'm not using any built-in animation system stuff here.
What is in the widget animation stuff?
Yeah, I'll show you now. I was level finished pop-up. Let's go into that. And so let's look at the graph.
Oh my god.
We will get rid of these once we have a tweening library. This is all about tweening, and tweening sucks.
Okay, yeah.
You're not allowed to use, like, let's see, let's remove the context sensitive. You cannot add a timeline in a widget graph. That's why I couldn't.
I think is it? Can you have it in the event graph even, just not a function?
No. It's not allowed.
Okay.
It's weird. That's why I said it's stupid to have the UI as a separate structure.
Right. Okay. No, it's good to see your example. But okay, so because you don't have a timeline, that's what that big graph is in a way, is it? Of like.
Yeah. So it's handling the tweens here.
You should put this on the marketplace as a tweening library.
No. So
10 cents.
Let's have a look. It has a transition in type and transition out type. It comes from left and then goes right.
These are enums you've made, I guess, right?
Yes, I satisfied all these stuff here. You also have scale, so it scales from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. And it is using a darkener, so it darkens the background.
Okay.
When I'm popping.
Yeah.
And that darkener is another widget actually, which I have an image, black image, and the render opacity is 0 by default, and you can just.
So do you play with that in code then? Is it the render opacity?
Yeah, here. If it's transitioning and if it's darkening, it just increases the opacity. You given a fade time.
Sorry, you're moving quite quick. I'm trying to see.
I'm moving quickly because you don't have to dig deep in this one.
Yeah.
It's not that important. It's simple mathematics.
Simple.
We also have this green one, and what it does is it uses the pop-up manager again, but instead of showing, I have another function, another method called show and hide, and you give a duration. So
just a small warning for you. Okay, yeah. So it's more of a like a notification sort of system, right?
And if you noticed, it didn't use the darkener.
Yes. Yeah.
So one system satisfying a lot of situations here.
So that could just pop up and say, "You spent the day as a frog."
Yes,
You're
definitely.
perfect.
Yeah. One more thing left. So I have an F key. I'm gonna press F. Press and hold.
Oh, you did a radial, you knob. Look at that. Or a pie chart. It depends.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already added to the screen. Look at all those warnings you're getting.
Yeah.
So does anything happen with that, or is that just getting ready?
What do you mean?
As in,
Getting ready.
can you?
It tries to add it to the viewport, but it's already added to the viewport.
Oh no, sorry. I meant when it's up, can you do anything with it, or
no.
are you prepared?
I didn't.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. So are you just getting ready to implement this? I see.
Yes.
Lovely. And that is, again, simple maths. For me, not all maths is simple, but if you're quite comfortable with maths, like you just work out the angle based on the.
Yeah, well, but that could be tricky because of like you need to lock the mouse and then you need, the character rotation, and then somehow you need to direct the player controller mouse movement to the UMG and the UI.
Yeah.
Still not that easy. It's easy, but it's gonna go ugly at some point.
You can, I think you can, if you, I don't know whether just using that, what do you call it? No, because you don't want the cursor to show, but you can set the UI to UI, you can set it to UI mode, which means it'll stop taking input, but you still want to be able to run around, don't you? So it's more that you'd probably make your own custom input component that gets added when that comes up. So it gets added to the input stack, and you make it consume mouse movement so that mouse movement doesn't go any further down.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. We're running out of time. I'm gonna show one more thing.
Okay, so it's like party trick. He turns up, doesn't he? With it, he's like, just one final trick for you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, can I get a volunteer from the crowd?
It's not a trick. It's just some explaining, right?
Yeah.
So the pop-up manager is this one is actually a U object, so you cannot instantiate it and place it on screen as an object. Object. Actor.
Actor.
But we need to initialize the pop-ups somewhere. So because we're not gonna make any multiplayer games, I'm using a game instance for that.
Okay.
So I have a game instance here in blueprints. Let's go. And it had some initialization stuff. So I enter the pop-up classes and their types, bind them.
Okay.
It handles initializing them and creates a T-map for them.
Okay. Yeah. And so this is the setup you do to associate an enum with the type of widget that you want to show, right? And then the game can just call whenever that enum comes. It knows what assets to hook up to, essentially, right?
Yeah, as you can see, I have pop-up classes and T subclass of pop-up base.
Yeah.
And then it creates pop-up bases out of these classes and creates them for this one, pop-ups.
Yeah, was the bit where it creates them, sorry?
That's also weird. Instance initialize. So we need the player controller to create widgets. So I try to and it exists.
Okay.
I add the pop-up, creating and adding it in the viewport, and it does it here.
Okay, so it's just a create widget. Is that a function you've made, or is that a base thing?
No. It's based in the player controller.
Oh, lovely. Oh, yeah, no, that's the node I've been using in Blueprint when you say it, and then it renames itself after you use it, which is confusing, but okay, that's pretty cool, though. No,
Okay.
it's looking nice. It's looking nice. And congratulations as well. That's a lot of hard work going. Is it quite satisfying building the system though? In a sense of,
It is. It
hmm.
is. It is.
I used
It
to
is
enjoy that a
good to
lot.
get back to C++.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the problems I used to do though is I would try and do stuff like that in the middle of a game jam. I'll just make a notification system, Brain. Don't worry about it. 2 days later, we got no content.
Yeah, that's a semi big mistake. Or
Yeah,
medium sized.
yeah. Medium to large, we'll say, huh?
Yeah.
But
Okay, I'm out then.
also, well, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing it, dude. Yeah, it's good to see. We'll be looking. Hopefully, I'll be looking on the next. We got 2 streams left this month, I think. Let me have a look at the calendar quickly. Yeah, there's 2 more Sundays left in September, so we're going to be looking at a lot of the skills, maybe less of the code, deeply into the code as Brain has gone. I'm trying to think of realistically what I'm going to get to cover, but we're going to be having a look at the animation side of things, and also healthy ways to bind logic to your buttons, and also creating templates of widgets for you to use in your widget setup as well. So
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
awesome,
I'm out.
nice one, dude. Thank you very much. Bye, Brain. Beautiful Brainoid. He's a good guy, and he's someone who's definitely, he only picked up Unreal so that we could work on stuff together. So he's an absolute ledge. And he is, like, in some elements, in some areas especially, he's done CPP before, don't get me wrong, but he's more confident than me in some stuff. I'm continuing exploring shaders, says Littlewood, after I made a palette swapper. In which, how are you making these at the moment, Littlewood? Yeah, and things are going good. Things are going good. We just wrapped up our morning dev session. I'm meant to be, I think I'll be playing some Fall Guys with the community at the moment. So I think Pally's still doing some stuff. Let me just find what time they're doing. They're going to be free. I need to take a quick break as well, grab a drink. But I'll carry on doing some dev if the people who I'd agree to play with are not about at the moment. Yeah, I will take a very quick be right back break. I'll be back in around 3 minutes. Okay, we are back. Hello. So, yeah, well, I'm going to be carrying on for a little bit. The community people who are going to be playing with me are delayed for various reasons today. It's not a problem. It means we can carry on. We can read up a couple of bits that I said we'd be doing next week. So let's start with the scaling, this document that we said we'd look at. This is more of a reading one than setting up, but we might refer to the blueprint widgets as we go through. So when working through the UI project, you may already have a target device in mind for releasing your project. In fact, you may want to release on multiple devices and platforms. The automatic resolution independent UI scaling uses Dpi scaling, that's Dpi dots per inch, right? Scaling rules enables you to create a resolution scale for multiple devices. Good morning, Malice Mixie. Hello. How good to see you, good sir. And Littlewood, you said you're currently making these using GLSL. I've heard of that before, right? That's, yeah, language, mostly using my own knowledge, but occasionally looking into tutorials. Fair enough. I know. I've made shaders in the Unreal kind of shader graph, which I think is probably some similarities. Awesome. Well, good on you, dude. It sounds like you're doing nice, productive stuff. Malice Bixie, how have you been, mate? So DPI scaling enables you to define a DPI scale rule and a DPI curve to automatically scale your UI elements based on varying resolutions. The DPI scale rule determines which scale to apply, and the DPI curve contains different resolutions and respective scale values. Using these options makes it quick and easy to translate your UI screens from devices like a phone or tablet or a PC with a range of device resolutions. So we're going to set up our initial aspect ratio and then add a device ratio to the scale. Okay, cool. I've never done this sort of side of things, so. Oh, it's just pure code, is it? Crikey. You couldn't find a way of handling things like Unity's canvas scaler. Okay, did you have a look at this? Malice, you're getting into the devil's details now in the swimming app. It's running and we're gaining customers. Good. The devil's details. Well, I mean, you've made the whole thing, so you put those details in there. Oh, you did look at this and this still didn't help. Oh, maybe I'm getting a bit optimistic that this is going to be useful. Designate an aspect ratio range for the first device and set its scale to 1. Add new user interface. Widget blueprint, DPI widget. Inside our DPI widget, under the screen size. Screen set down. Different screen sizes. We're going to Android phone. The resolution and the DPI are down here. Okay. Typically, it's the best way to work on your UI elements in a scale of 1 and use the DPI scaling rule to scale up or down your elements. Click the gear icon. Okay, this is where it brings up that. Okay, and we can have a little look at this then. Can we just use one of our widgets here instead? And what about that pause menu? Or maybe the main menu? Oh, actually, no, the pause menu's got less going on. Let's just go to that. Oops, this. Okay, so the pause menu here, can you see this DPI scale? We want it to go to 1, it said, ideally. So this is what we're working on at the moment, and it says if you click on this, it brings up the settings for us. Okay. We'll have a look at this in a moment. Let me just read what Brain said. So imagine you want an animation where your screen moves out of screen. But things go wrong when you change resolutions because animation doesn't. Oh, yes. So if you move like 1920 pixels to the left to swing it off, that's only relevant for that resolution, right? I guess you could calculate it via code. But yeah, that sounds nasty. Like get the resolution and you times that, get your distances based on that. Yeah, in Unity though, it does it automatically, doesn't it? I think. Spaghetto! Spaghetti is lovely though. I left them out to fill in later. Now it's later. Oh no. Oh, Malice. And are you feeling confident you'll manage to sort it? Okay, let's have a look what it says to look at in here, shall we? So this brings this open. We have a little bit of a curve in here, so you can also, yeah, blah 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 blah. So Dpi Scaling, which is Dpi Scaling when you prefer. This example, we're using the shorter side. There's a scaling rule, longest side. Okay, so this is basically how things should. I think what we respect, is it? Evaluates the scale curve based on the longest side of the viewport. Right, yeah. Okay, because they're doing mobile. That may influence things, but I can't quite think. Shorter side would be the height in this, right? We could do the longest side, which would be the width on our screen at least. Okay. It then talks about, on the Dpi curve, find the key on the curve that reflects a scale value of 1. And set the resolution based on the scale value, scale rule you designate. Sorry. Smaller side, so the resolution is set. This looks jank. Whatever this is. Okay, I'm not. I worry. I should be. Right, here's the key at position 1, right? The resolution is correct. Scale 1, 1080. Alright, I'm not too sure why the tutorial looks so jank, but we'll keep going anyway. It will evolve. I remember your evolution and development, Malice Bixie. Okay, select another key on the graph and set the resolution to 1. Another one. Wasn't this? Hold on. On the Dpi curve, find the key on the curve which reflects a scale value of 1. Yeah, I found that. Reset it from 10. So this is it. Right, it just, I think it's because mine is full screen. That's why I don't need to change anything. But if I wanted my pop-up to be smaller, well, we can do that, right? Maybe that's an idea. Instead of having it full screen, it might be worth trying to play with this a little bit. So maybe it will be this canvas thing. Hold on, what is going on with this scale now? I'm so confused. I don't. Oh, it's the border I want to change, not the canvas panel, I think. No, but no, that's not what I want to change. Yeah, I'm a bit confused with this at the moment. Yeah, I'm not 100% what's going on here. Let's carry on reading through. Oh, sorry. Okay, no, sorry. Just a thought I had there. This is going to be based on the screen size I've chosen as well. So if I chose like a smaller monitor or that kind of resolution instead, then I could make it smaller and still be on the DPI scale of 1. I just don't know why this is now 1.78. Yeah, a little bit lost with that. Let's try and see what we can get out of this. Okay, so this is 495. What's the last one that you changed? They changed it to 496, wasn't it? Okay. I think I know what they were actually doing here. Sorry, I've only just got to the point where I realized what they were doing. I think what they were doing is how to get it to the scale of 1 if you're not using this resolution on. Essentially, what he's saying he's doing is you add another point in here. Scale at like 1 pixel less. So it's 1080, right? So it'd be like 1079. It's just below it instead. And that's your way of knowing where the threshold is, I think they were kind of saying. Hang on, resolution 1 and scale. Ah, they've done it the other way around. My bad, sorry. Oh, that is so weird. So they actually, no, they set that as 1. And this is 10. What? They're not using the longest side. No, you're right. They are using the shortest side. But I still don't know what the flip is going on with this. Like the scale is astronomical now. Yeah, I'm really not too sure what this is doing. Oh, you can do this, can't you? Yeah, this bit's been a little bit confusing. But no, they do have the same thing as us, that it's really high and then it goes down. I'm just a bit confused by what they're doing with it. So that's how you scale the UI to 1. But yeah, a bit confused by it, if I'm honest with you. Maybe we'll look back at it another time, or maybe we won't. Try and finish this really quickly then, and then we'll play some Fall Guys with the community. Get some crowns for Malice Bixie. He likes them crowns. Oh, it's Apollyon! 7 months.
Honest 29 pig, honest 29 quest, 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 honest 29 horse.
Thank you for that. Text-to-speech person really enjoyed that. Yeah, they just love the chance to talk every now and then, and you really gave them the opportunity. How are you doing, good sir? It's good to see you. I see you're changing your streams to weekdays. What sort of times are you thinking of streaming, Pauline? We're just wrapping up for the dev session. We've done around 2.5 hours or so now, looking at some UI stuff. Right, we're just going to finish reading through this document. So the initial aspect ratio, with the initial aspect ratio set, you can now add more aspect ratios for different devices. So click the screen size drop down, select a different aspect ratio, such as a tablet or a different phone brand. We'll use an iPhone. In the user interface and Dpi curve, hold shift and left click to create 2 new keys. And the first one, scale to 166. Why 166? Okay, here it tells us. Okay. To determine the new scale for these keys, we need to find the difference between the Dpi scale rule of the first and new devices. In this example, we divide the new device's smallest side by the first device's smallest side. So we divide 828 by 496 for a new scale of 1.66. Okay, at least they explained it. When adding more devices, keep the same resolution for the new nodes 179 and 1090. 1090. Oh, are they the other points that were on? I don't know. Essentially, I think it's just saying, like, how should you scale everything in your UI between these two different kind of values of resolutions, but part of me feels like this should be automated as well. Yeah, I don't know how I felt about that document. It was so full of scare, full so of hope, but well. Anyway, so you have time during the week now, so I want to get back to a more regular. That sounds a very good idea to me, Apollyon. Sounds a good idea. Okay, so what have we done today? Let's have a very quick recap before we go over to play some community games. Let's close this. Is this per widget as well? No, it's not per widget. Because that is like a overall settings as well. I'm confused by that side of things. But what we have done then is we now have a little pause menu. So let's just press play, shall we? Well, we'll go back to the main level to show the full flow, I guess. Title screen. Save. Let's hit play. Let's bring it over. So we now, we still have all of this from last time where you can change the resolution. So we'll change to a little resolution, return. You know, play the game. And what we find is we can pause the game and resume. The second is we have a weird, not always responsive. Like, why is that not? That's not. I don't understand. Is it based on the length? No, because it happens when it's... Yeah, we don't know. We had a little look at that, but it's a bit jank, this whole system, in my opinion. I don't particularly like it. But we'll pretend it's some screen in Half-Life 2. Hold on, what did I just move? Oh, I've got two of them. What's going on here? That could be some of the issues we've been having. Okay, let's try this again. So let's go to our content. Let's add in one of these. Yeah, maybe that was the issue. I don't know. We can hope. I'd feel better if it was the issue. Tilt it down. Let's use the world. Okay. There we go. Perfect. So it's a widget actor. So it's an actor with a widget component on it, which passes in a reference to this. And this is just simply a button. But then we also added on the first person character a widget interaction component onto the end of the gun. Interaction distance here. We can make it even longer. I see. That's good. And then we did some binding of if you press enter or the right click then it will turn into a left mouse click on the UI. So that means that this button then here becomes, yes, that's a lot more responsive now. I think it was struggling which one to pass it to, or it was Z fighting. Sorry for the shot. Okay, sweet. So I'm just going to do a very quick little GIF of that, and then we're going to get on to play some Fall Guys. Please make that health draggable. Next week, Brainoid, we will make it draggable. Gosh, we're going to have such fun making that health bar draggable next week. Yeah, we did arrange like yesterday with community members to play some games around this time, so that's why I don't want to extend the dev side of it too much further. Oh, I don't have screen to GIF. Okay, I can't do a GIF of this because I don't have the software. So don't worry about it. It's fine. Brilliant. You're breaking all the rules. You can't do that. That's gameplay driven from the UI. Madness. Absolute madness. But anyway, okay, sweet. So we are done for the dev side of it.